Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill DeMent, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business.
Hey, Bill.
James, happy holidays to you.
Absolutely. Happy holidays to you. This will air in the new year. So this will be our first podcast for the new year.
Happy New Year, then.
So Happy New Year to you as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, I want to jump right into it because we've had a great pre-show with this pair of individuals, and I really want to kind of dig into it a little bit. I had the pleasure of meeting them a while back, but I want to introduce Carrie Moreau and Derrick Vittitou, right? And Vittitou. And they are the owners of Certified Best Roofing. So listen, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to have you. We love the dynamic that we've already seen between the brother and sister dynamic that you guys have. Obviously, a very successful roofing company, but your story is fascinating. And so I kind of want to dig into your journey just a little bit and just kind of get right into it because I think we got some momentum going from the pre-show. But listen, Carrie, I know you're like the slight majority owner, female-owned business. I love empowering the female entrepreneur. I think it's super important to do. We're looking for female entrepreneurs in our franchises because I think they will do very well. But I'm curious about your background, kind of what led you to where you are right this second. Take a few minutes to just kind of talk about, what led you to where you are and then how you and Derrick got together to create this great company.
Yeah, well, thanks, James and Bill, for having us on. I really appreciate it. And that's amazing to hear you say that you support women in this industry and construction. It hasn't been an extremely easy journey breaking into it, but it has been extremely rewarding. And I love speaking into the space and encouraging women to use their strengths and help homeowners and business owners. And so the journey for me is I've always been an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form. I've owned businesses with my husband that were successful, and we had a really great experience of selling a business once upon a time. And I love being in the front of things and being creative. And how I got into this space with my brother was that, he was going to start the business with my husband and they were thinking, planning everything. But right before the rubber hit the road, they asked me if I would come in and run it from behind the scenes. And so I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? I want to come into the business, but as an owner, not as an employee. And so that's how I got started. That's how Certified Best Roofing came to be.
I'm going to chime in too, because the funny story that I just thought of, when we started it, all of our family up north assumed that she was doing my files.
Oh, yeah, I'm his secretary.
Okay. When Carrie is like the biggest powerhouse, once you've worked with her, if you truly know who she is, all of her friends will back this. But just to hear someone say that, that's the assumption, it's almost laughable. I got to the point where I didn't even correct people because that's how funny it is.
Yeah.
So, that was the start.
Yeah, that's that's the start. So, yes, I'm the bookkeeper. No, I'm kidding. So, your question had a lot in there, but I love solving problems and the tenacity it takes to be an entrepreneur. So yes, it's extremely challenging and there's things that I haven't quite figured out yet. I've never owned a construction business before. I have been an entrepreneur, but I've never done this. And so a lot of times when you sit down to talk to somebody, it's at a point where their success is hit a really high level and they're telling you the journey as it, like they've come over the mountain, so to speak, right? Yeah. And so you're hearing about the journey after it's over and you're celebrating this, wow, look at what they did. And so one of the things that I like to do is in the low points is when I go and record my podcast.
Yeah.
Is when I go record an episode. So I get really open and vulnerable and sharing the difficulty of it as it's happening. So I'm very open about the challenges that I'm facing in my business on a daily basis, even with our team. Your team does want security and they want to know that everything's, I think that they want to know there's security in everything that you're doing. But as an entrepreneur, I don't know what's going to happen this year. I don't know if people are going to sign. I have no idea. I don't know if we're going to have a hurricane. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, if I'm going to get the next deal signed. I have no idea, but I do know what I can control or the activities I do every day. So that's one of the things that I speak big into is if you do the right thing, if you serve people the right way, it's going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you tenfold. So
I do like the transparency with the employee because it gives them a little bit of heads up.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I'm not the type of person to share anything at all. And then we're sitting in a meeting and she's not oversharing, but sharing. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Should they really
That's
not?
me and Bill, because
Yeah.
I'm like, Bill, don't say too much. I don't want to worry anybody. But the reality is
Exactly.
that they're part of this
It's
company
real
too.
business.
I think
Yeah.
they find comfort in knowing, frankly.
Yeah. It's
If
when
I
you're
were
blindsided.
them, I'd want to have a heads up.
Right.
And so you could run any business, but yet, Derrick, you're the one who brought the roofing side
Right.
to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was one of these kids growing up that I would take my toys apart and put them back together, from the time I could hold a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And that just translated to knowing that I wasn't going to be sitting at a desk somewhere, that I was going to end up working with my hands. And I knew that from a very young age. So when I took construction jobs when I was still in school, so I did like an OJT program.
Oh, yeah.
And that was actually in granite and marble back when that was just like a high-end home thing. So that's where I started working in all the homes in Ellsworth and Kings. In Orlando, that's like the fancy town,
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of where I cut my teeth working with rocks, more or less. And then that just grew into framing houses and getting more into the construction side. And then ultimately, I ended up in roofing. That's how that works, because when you're doing construction, building houses, the builders typically want you to dry it in so they don't have to have the roofers come out.
Yes.
So some of those steps I started to ease into and realizing, how water works and how you keep it out of houses. And then ultimately, when I got those job offers, just because I was always the lead, even from the time I think my first management job, I was 19. So it just came naturally to me to kind of lead the teams and whatnot.
Right.
So when it came to that time, and I initially started working for the previous roofing company, I was at the bottom more or less. But once he, got to know me, he just made me general manager pretty much
wow.
within a year. Yeah.
Derrick has such a calming presence about him, and the way that he can listen to people that makes him such a great leader. He can stay on the outskirts of a situation and see everyone's perspective, and not everybody can do that. And also he can bring people together in a way that he gets rid of the stuff that doesn't matter.
The noise. I call it
He gets rid
noise.
of the noise, and he's this is have a T-shirt that says "Stay calm, Derrick will handle it." I really do have that. I worked to a meeting one time. Stay calm, Derrick's going to handle it. So that's what I think makes us such a good team, is that
so, too.
we can bring those strengths into the workplace.
So what you're
and
saying
help
is
our
you're the
people.
noise.
And you get me to be quiet, move it forward and the right, get us to focus on the main thing. He's really good, but also the way his mind works, and then he can look at something, and I see flat surfaces, right, and he can see 3D. He can see just completely inside the structures of something and know exactly what's going on. So it makes us really good at repair. Repair work.
I did have a question on that. A lot of roofers are doing framing and other related things with the roof repairs. Do you all do that? Do you incorporate that as well?
Yeah, we do. So when we, when we're taking on a roof repair, you don't know what's going to be underneath. So you have to be able to kind of do all things. But it's not just that. It's also when we're taking on roof jobs as well. Because if the tree fell on the house, a roofer that doesn't have a residential license would have to hire a contractor to take care of the trusses and everything.
Okay.
Where we can handle all
You're
that
able to
in-house,
do all that.
right?
So you hold both those licenses?
Yes, I do. Yeah, dual
excellent.
license. Yeah.
So if a tree does fall on a roof, it's devastating for the house, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But you can come in and take care of the whole thing.
Yep.
There.
So
Whole thing,
we'll get
yeah.
the trusses designed to match exactly what's there. So my goal is when we leave, you can't even tell that it ever happened. Right. Even if I have to stand at the road and look at that fascia line going down the house, I don't want to see any dips and none of that. That's the goal.
And the other thing about Derrick too is that he doesn't usually share this with people, but he's an artist, at heart. So he can design and draw and create things from nothing that are beautiful. So his finish work has an artistry to it that that stands out.
So are you doing some of the work yourself?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I try not to, but
He
it's one of
loves
those
it, though.
things where I do love it.
He's drawn to it.
Because if I'm running a saw, I can't hear my phone.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know you mentioned in the pre-show that you'd talked about getting licensing for quite a few years, and then maybe 5 years ago, you finally
I wanted
talk a little bit
I was
about
on
that.
job sites when I was 18 and watching the guys pull up in the big trucks, and I'm like, what do they do? And they're like, they're the contractor. So we just do whatever they say. I was like, okay. I want to be that guy.
Right. Yeah.
But it's been something I wanted for a long time. And of course, I think I was 40 before I got my first license. So it's like I finally figured out what I want to do when I grow up, but I knew the whole time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you get the roofing license first?
I
or-
did.
Okay.
I did just because I knew that was going to be the foundation of the company, and that was what's going to keep the lights on. Because if it's hard to just jump into major construction role as a contractor.
Yes.
Because you have to have a lot of capital. With roofing, you can show up with your nails and your nail guns and start making money fairly inexpensively. That's
Right.
Oh, that's an interesting insight.
So what year
Yeah.
did you guys decide to do this venture?
2021.
Yep.
Our first is when we opened.
January of 2021.
January 6th. So we're coming up on our 5th year anniversary.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so obviously successful, because I know you guys as a very successful company. So let's talk about your journey a little bit. So that first year, what did the company look like? Where were you guys? I mean, obviously, you're trying. We call it building the car as you're driving it, right?
Yeah, we
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. Absolutely, we did. Because we started the company with $20,000. I wanted to, because I was doing this the first time without the financial backing of my husband. Like, we always did everything together. We've built our everything together. But there was something about this time that I was like, I want to do this with my brother without that. What would it be like if I was just starting out
Like
with
we said
nothing,
before,
with no
cut out the
support?
noise.
Cut out the noise, right?
right.
So I had been doing some day trading during 2020, and I'd started with it just a couple $1,000s, and I grew it to 20 grand in that year. And I was like, well, this is like free money. This came from me generating this. And I was like, that's going to be our startup money. So with that 20,000, we got everything situated, got our softwares, bought a truck, wrapped it, did that stuff. And we had an office in my house. And we hired our first salesperson, which, by the way, was a woman that we hired from his previous company. We had a couple other guys that he brought over that he had known from before. And we just were like, okay, I guess we're in business, where's a roof? What are we going to do?
Right.
And I had to start learning permitting. So I'm in the office. Like, I had owned a mortgage, real estate, and title company before, so I understand public records and some of that minutia. So started working on that, and I was learning as I went. Never worked with it submitting insurance claims, but I'm like, I'm a homeowner. I have an insurance policy, so let me see what I have and see what other people have. And just learned like you said, build it as we were going.
Yeah. And then at the previous company, I had sat with the contract attorneys and formulated the contracts. So I already had blank contracts that ready to go. So we had a lot of the pieces in place.
Started putting all of that together, and then a hailstorm hit really close to where we were.
Before our 90-day mark, had 2-inch hail in Winter Park, Florida.
And it was like everyone we knew that we had been telling everybody, hey, on social media, and hey, we have a roofing company. Just telling everybody. And then everyone was like, hey, you have a roofing company. You can help me.
And they all needed you at exactly the same time,
yes,
right?
and so it launched us basically, and it was. I wouldn't say hand over fist, but it was quick. And because of experience being self-employed, understanding processes, building that foundation strong allowed us to just kick into high gear. And we did $1 million in roofs in like less than 6 months.
Right.
Wow.
And so we were like, we did it. Look at us. And so we went and rented an office, got another truck, hired some other people, hired a few more salespeople, and we were off and running by the end of 21.
I'm curious, during that period, that first year when you're really kicking things off, what would you consider were maybe one or two of the biggest challenges you had?
So the processes, when you start to, I knew because I had experience.
Right.
Running, I was like, this is how we're going to do it. This is how it's going to move through. And then she was able to say, okay, these are the things I need to learn. So she realized what she didn't know, and she would learn that quickly. So the thing about process is you think, oh, this is how it's all going to play out. But then you get busy like a storm like that, and all of a sudden you realize your processes are garbage.
So I'm like
But
creating
being able
forms
to-
and checklists and spreadsheets
Right.
and
some
trying
of
to
those
figure out the
spreadsheets,
flow.
you'll abandon it in 15 days, realize this is
This
still
doesn't
not
work.
it. So the biggest thing is being able to recognize what the challenge is and then adjust quickly and do it in a way that everybody can adapt and play along.
Yeah, and we didn't have enough credit with our supply houses with the timing of the payments as they were coming in. So trying to figure out how to balance that. Right. And also, like the business didn't have credit yet. So a lot of the initial company credit was in my personal name. So just, we didn't have QuickBooks and set up, like we didn't have all of that put in place. And what I learned very quickly is that owning a construction company is like being a small bank.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not realize I should have known that before I started one, right?
The bank of certified best roofing.
The bank of certified best roofing. Yes. Did not understand that. But, got all those things in place rather quickly because we had the resources. We had people we could turn to. My husband's a business consultant. So, making those phone calls and, just being willing to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Tell me what you did, and gathering, talking to people, having conversations. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, let me write that down. Okay, I don't even know what half of the words in that sentence mean, but I'm going to go figure this out. And, even though I'd been an entrepreneur before, I didn't know anything. I mean, I flipped a couple houses, so I understood some construction that I enjoyed it, but also his willingness to be like, okay, let's slow down and him being willing not, to just let me know what I needed to know in those moments so that, he'd have to stop with the drill. Like he says, he's on a roof or whatever, be like, okay, I don't understand what any of this means. And this insurance company is jerking us around. How do I have the conversation in a way that's going to get us where we need to go for the homeowner? So just learning all of that from scratch and the patience that he had to teach me, it paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a good investment.
Yeah. And one of the things that we kind of flew over there was with insurance claims, that last check might not come in for 120 days or more.
Right.
So when you say certified best roofing banking, it's literally what it is. These customers think that we're paid in full, it's done. Their house is, got the CO on the permit, the whole 9. But we're not seeing that check for months.
And where a homeowner would get their check and they would say, oh, this must be my money. And then they would be quiet and not tell us they got paid.
Luckily, we didn't have too many of those.
We didn't have too many, but that did happen. And then I'd call the insurance company to follow up. And they're like, oh, yeah, that money went out so many weeks ago. Because you don't call every day with an insurance company. They'll stop taking your calls. You have to time it right, like every 10 or 15 days, give them a check-in. And then to be like, oh, yeah, that check was issued 3 weeks ago. That no one told you. And then calling up the homeowner, hoping they didn't spend it on something else.
And that's where we learned how to do financing.
Yeah.
Because then we would have to tell the people, right, you're going to have to get a loan for your home repairs that are already done.
Yeah. So, we've learned a lot. Learned so many things that when we start talking about it, I'm like, dang, I didn't know I didn't know even 10% of what I know now.
What's great about it is you're resourceful enough to figure out what the answers are. And that's what I want to encourage.
Well, that's classic entrepreneur right
Absolutely.
there, just figuring it out.
And that's what I want to listen to for our franchise owners, for other small business owners, is it's okay if you don't know.
It is okay. It's okay to ask.
Yeah, because there's people out there like us, we want to share the knowledge. We want to help. And there are resources for you to get those line of credits and to get the right credit cards you need to kind of schmooze the supply houses.
Yeah.
But the fear of failing is what cripples people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I've dealt with this, the imposter syndrome, and whenever I bring that up, people are like, oh, he has that too sometimes.
Oh, gosh.
Because that's a natural thing to have,
It is
right?
natural.
So, you're afraid to ask because you want everybody to think you just know it all, but that's just ego. So as soon as you let go of ego, you realize we're all the same and we'll help each other. That's the beauty of it too.
Love that.
Yeah. One of the biggest differences is having a group of entrepreneur women that will sit at a table with me and we'll just talk about the challenges we're facing, with managing a family and managing a business, and how I think that for women too, it's this dynamic of, I'll just use a short story as an example. So, my son goes to a school that's 30 minutes away. My husband travels for work. So I'm this, the person that's driving him around. Right. So that's my responsibility. And so it was taking so much of my time. I sat back and I did the math and I'm like, I am spending 12 hours a week in a car, and I'm an entrepreneur.
It was a part-time job. It was more than that.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was so much time. And so it was like, my husband's, well, hire somebody to drive him. And I'm like, oh God, I'm one of those now. I don't have time for my kid. And I had this whole thing of going through my mind of, I'm not a good mom because I'm not going to drive him. Oh. But I'm like, as a man in his mind would be like, yeah, I'm not driving the kids. Somebody else is doing that. It's common sense. But there's something about that woman, I don't know, that maternal instinct that we think we have to do it all. And that's really what it is. It's just a mindset, right? So I hired somebody to drive my kid. Best decision ever. He's happier. I mean, he's 15 and he eats me out of house and home. He basically sleeps the whole time we're in the car. He sits down and falls asleep because he's recuperating from being.
So you're not getting quality time anyways.
There's no quality time. Yeah.
Right.
So now somebody else drives him around while he sleeps, and I get to focus on my team and build my company and do what I need to do. But
the person that suggested it is in our networking groups. She's an attorney and she pays someone to do her kids' laundry, to drive the kids, to do all the things.
So sitting at a table with women, they're right there. Someone cleans my house. Someone decorates for Christmas. They get on the list of all the tasks that they no longer do. And I was like, okay, I've made it to this table. I can do these things too. And it helped me meet my sales goals and lead my team better and just be a better friend, a better wife, a better mom, all the things. Yeah. But women, I don't know why we do that. Men, it's just automatic. They're I'm not even going to enter that. I'm not even thinking about it.
Well, it is different for women in business though, isn't it? Uh-huh. And you mentioned, you just kind of brushed over it a couple of minutes ago, but I want to drop back and revisit that. I know that you're really intentional about engaging other women, networking with other women. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I started a podcast this past year called Wonder Women Who Build. And so my job title on my business card is Roofing Wonder Woman. And I did that so it would be memorable and it's entertaining and I think kind of cute and funny. And my business card is me cosplaying in a blazer with Wonder Woman accessories.
It's a little embarrassing at first, but I got used to it.
Yeah.
As the brother, I support it
He was
fully
like,
now.
what,
Just to be
what are
clear.
you doing? But it would make people smile. It's kind of the same way I have a golden doodle who has a ridiculous haircut. And it's because when I take her for walks, it makes other people smile. So the Wonder Woman thing made me happy. And I thought, well, maybe it'll make other people smile too. And when I hand my business card and people look at it and they grin at me, I don't know if they're laughing at me or laughing with me, but it does spark a little joy.
But the
so
curious
I
part
enjoy
about it when I'm at networking groups with you is usually they're like, I've heard of you.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're building personal brand.
Personal
Yes.
brand. Yeah. So I leaned in. A friend of mine who's a branding photographer, her name is Branding by Joe. I think we could pull this off in a way that isn't cheesy, that does land in a way that.
And I do have a personal brand too. At networking events, I'm just Carrie's brother.
Right. Oh, I thought you
kid
were her
not.
husband.
I'm just.
Isn't that's
Yes.
Well, no,
Sometimes-
after they get past,
Depends.
oh, you're not the husband. Then they're like, oh, that's just Carrie's brother.
oh yeah. He's just that way.
That's my brand.
Yeah,
Carrie's brother.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to
but
work on a logo.
Yeah, Wonder Women Who Build. I bring other women entrepreneurs on, and so one episode will just be me by myself, like a stand-alone episode, really talking about the journey that is happening as it's unfolding. And so instead of sitting down and be like, yes, I'm so successful, I've made it, let me tell you about the journey I just had. Mine is, let me tell you about the muck I'm in right now, what I'm doing to survive this, what I'm learning from it, what you can learn from it, and some of the things that we can work, that you can hear in this conversation that will help you feel seen and heard and understood, and that you're not by yourself.
So essentially, that's self-therapy.
It is self-therapy. So I had a really rough couple of weeks and I just went straight to the studio and I told my producers, they're in it's a small studio in Winter Springs. I'm like, I'm going to cry probably the whole episode. So I don't know, you're going to need to edit or whatever, but they enjoy it. They're like, it's two guys and they're like, can we be Wonder Women Who Build too? Because most of the things you say every time you come in here, we feel better about being entrepreneurs after you leave. But yeah, it's entrepreneurial therapy, you know, that it's just some things we experience that, the human experience and being an entrepreneur sometimes is too much, and I think we have to talk about it. There's so many things that we don't share. Like Derrick was saying, we want to, give that perception as reality of being in a, you want to build trust, right? And so to build trust, you can't be falling apart when you're trying to do somebody's home project.
Right.
We have to actually be able to pay for materials and our insurances and all the things we have to carry to show up to that front door. And then we want to execute it well and have that good relationship and all the facets of all of that. But as an entrepreneur, you just can't carry it all. You just can't. And some days you got to step back from it and be like, okay, this sucks. This is really hard. I don't see a way through. I don't know how that's going to happen. I'm just going to sit in this misery for a minute. And it does pass.
Yeah.
The tenacity of it, staying in it, it does pass. If you've done all the things you needed to do leading up to that, you're going to get through it, but it's not fun.
With the proper
some days it's not fun.
ethics and the integrity,
Yes.
it transfers through anything.
Yes.
So it's going to pass.
Yeah.
As you're doing the right things.
Yeah, it will.
One
It
of the
will.
things I've discovered here at Hole in the Wall is when I'm in that place, the value of a quality partner really shines through because I get in a hole or I'm thinking about the money or the future or whatever. And James is, he just sees it differently.
Yes.
And he's able to clarify my thinking on things. I go, oh yeah, the sky maybe isn't falling, maybe drooping a bit, but I don't think it's going to fall.
Like I had a day a couple of weeks ago and I said, I am so tired of having to face these challenges. And I sat in my misery for a second because sometimes I think we rush through it and we're like, just go, go, go. And I'm like, I need to pause a second. And I started to share like what was on my mind, on my heart with Derrick. And he got teared up too. I was like, oh no. You can't.
You passed it off.
Yeah.
But I needed that in that moment, and we needed to encourage each other.
Well, because
and
if you
then-
walk around and constantly squish things down, squish it down, you're not going to heal. You're not going to learn from it. You're not going to realize what you can do different next time. So you do have to flush it out.
And then we're able to make better decisions afterwards,
But plus, there's also a responsibility as the owner. You've got employees. So it's not just about you quitting. It's about you pushing through for the sake of your family.
Yes,
your work.
absolutely.
So we talk about the women entrepreneur side, but I'm curious, what is the dynamic being a woman owner in the construction industry? How are you perceived differently? How do people react to you? How do you overcome some of those
Before you
barriers?
answer, I just want to say it's one of those things where you think, oh, it's not really that bad. It's not like that. Like I've always gone through the construction and just noticing things where it's, I never really see anything, but now I've seen things where I feel like I'll back you on it because
I'm not making it up.
It's eye-opening.
He has such a strong respect. Our whole life, he has a strong respect for me personally, but
Yeah,
for
that
women,
that really
I watch
comes
how
through,
he
by the way.
how he moves through the world.
Yeah.
He's respectful of women. I mean, just his stature and how tall he is. He's explained to me that like when he's around a small woman, he has to physically act different. I don't know if it's like that. I'm not a guy, so I don't know what that's like.
You have to
but
soften.
He's have to soften
It's
and
intimidating.
and have to give off mannerisms and body language that basically says I'm a safe space. Like they don't have to worry or be on guard. And I'm like, okay, I've never even thought of that. So he's really good about that. But I would come back to him and be like, this is the conversation I just had. In our first couple years, he'd be like, really? I mean, did they really say that? Did they really assume those things about you? I'm like, dude, listen to what I'm telling you. Let me tell you, break it down. So at first, sometimes it would be a homeowner. It would be an older gentleman who maybe put a roof on when he was 16, and he would need to explain roofing to me. And I'd have to sit in his living room and let him condescend the whole process through me. I had another situation where I had a homeowner who wanted to rewrite every word of the contract. And even when I told him, I don't think we're the roofer for you, he still set an appointment to come to the office to sign and then never showed. I've had situations where it's like a sales guy for, like we get incentives from the supply houses and they'll take all the guys hunting.
Yep.
I'm like, so Derrick gets to go on a hunting trip, but I'm the
Annually,
one,
by the way.
You're
but I'm right
excluded.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I support him in that. I'm glad he gets to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, what's that? What's that little thing right there? That don't make no sense. Or there's an association for women in roofing, and I would love to mention them, but I'm not a part of it. So I'm not going to mention it. But they invited me to be a part of it. And when I started looking into it, it's majority men. It's mostly men, but it's a women's roofing association. That makes no sense to me.
Right.
And it's because there's not enough women to have a meeting, right? So they
Right.
got to have guys there. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not channeling to your audience, you know? But it's just one thing after another, being called sweetheart. One time, so we are the roofer of a very large business in Oviedo, and we were at a function and we're standing in I'm standing in a group and I'm noticing some issues with the structural integrity of the design. And I just start talking to the property manager about how it could have been done differently if they would have thought about maintenance and how that could have gone into the design, and how there's some suggestions we can make to modify some of the way this building is structured to give them longevity and make this roof perform better, because it's just a nightmare and they don't have the money to re-roof it. So we keep patching, and it's just it's gonna fail, and then they're gonna blame us. But these are some of the things we could talk about. So I start talking to a group of the men who are managing this property, and one of the guys just starts laughing, like just starts bursting into laughter. And he's on my shoulder, and I look at him. I'm like, did I make a joke? I'm looking around the circle, and the guys are looking at him weird. And it's just so cute to hear you talk like that. I'm like, what
Oh,
a
my
freaking
word.
idiot. And then I've had a situation. I'm at a lunch, and talking about networking and how I build our chapter of our networking group and whatever. And a guy sits across from me. He's like, Carrie, I'm just not like you. I just don't have all the time you have. I have to actually be on job sites.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you just say what I think you said?
Right.
But it comes up a lot. So what I try to do is, stay poised in those
Yeah.
moments when
You
there is
skipped
a
my
part of
favorite
me-
one is the guy that was
Oh.
basically saying you're working a deal, you guys were negotiating, and then he was kind of alluding towards, well, when you go back to the office and get approval for this, then we'll sign. And the guy's like,
And I'm like,
I own the company.
I own the company,
am the
man. I'm
approval."
it. Like you're talking to the person who's going to make these
Or he
adjustments
referenced
for you.
maybe asking your husband
Yes.
or something.
Oh, my word.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Sometimes he likes to hear the conversation
I'm
unfold
here
because
for-
this guy
I
is
do
about
enjoy
to,
some of it.
This
Yeah,
guy is
sure,
about to
yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you talked a lot about the struggles of entrepreneurship, and it's not all down. Listen,
No.
Right.
sometimes there are big
No.
wins, right?
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
curious, what do you guys do when you have a big win? How do you celebrate
Oh,
that
there's-
together as
yeah,
a company
dancing.
or with your employees?
Usually the ones that hit the hardest, and this is something I've kind of called them out on, because we used to have a text feed where it's like, if someone so much as signed a piece of paper for me, we're like, I got this signature. You do the little emoji of, the dancing kids that are dancing on
Right.
the bed or whatever. But yeah, they'll be dancing in there. If it's usually the ones where we've been waiting so long, these people just won't sign. They won't sign. They won't sign. They're waiting for this, waiting for. Then all of a sudden they sign. It's like, coming in the office, waving it around.
Okay, yeah, now that's
My
good.
shiny piece of paper has a signature on it, So like the wins get celebrated. We're small enough that we can act goofy and be ridiculous.
And also we share the wins of the really great reviews that we get. We share them in our meetings, and it's not easy. Like we've done way more roofs than we have reviews for, but I think 4.9 right now is our rating on Google. And so every time we get a review, we're reading it, we're sharing it with the team, we're mentioning the names. We'll have Google review contests, to get them to get their clients to put those things in writing. But, celebrating a great year, like the whole team, like we're always trying to find things that they've done well, that they've executed well, how they've turned something around. Like we had a client we were following up with, our client relations manager was following up with this client for a year, a year of follow-ups. And the client finally is, I'm ready, and we have a little dance party.
Yeah, we can even flip it too, because we had a thing for a while where once you know your closing ratio, then you'll know how many no's you need to get to how many yeses. So if you're expecting 10 no's this week, then every no should be great. That means I'm almost there.
I'd forgotten
One
about
step
that.
closer.
Yeah,
Right.
that's one of the things. Maybe it'll help some of your franchise owners is that I did flip the script on my sales to where after so many no's is when I'd go give myself a little reward. So I like to garden, and my pool patio is like a forest of plants because it represents my first year in sales, and every plant out there represents 10, sometimes 15. I had to up the number of no's when I was trying to really hit a goal. And my husband was like, when are you going to stop? And I'm like, well, I mean, this is what's carrying me through. So I've got
sales
so many
can be
plants
rough, so you
out
almost
there.
have to learn to appreciate a no to really thrive.
Absolutely.
So you can celebrate wins and losses, really.
Yeah, so how did the evolution of your sales change? Because I know it's not the same now as it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the biggest is that, in our town in Orlando, in Central Florida, roofing companies chase storms. They want insurance claims. They door knock. So, and we told you honestly, like in the beginning, we had crews that were door knocking and chasing these claims. But then once we realized that insurance wasn't going to be the same, it isn't going to be the same ever again, we realized we have to go retail. We have to just sell to people that need new roofs. And once we flipped that script and just started going to Google ads and doing networking and bringing in retail business, you had mentioned the real estate side. Like people can hire us and pay for their roof at closing if they're selling their house, or if they're buying a house, they can have the selling agent set it up to where the roof will be done.
Right.
Brand new roof, get an insurance policy very easily. Once we started doing things like that, we flipped the script.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
so
that's
it's actually in our favor now because we tell people we don't door knock. We're not door knockers.
And I think too, even with drywall, if the people starting franchises out there, if they would just look at what all the other drywall repair people are doing, if they're just advertising, scraping popcorn and finishing ceilings, if they would just focus on what's missing, which is the key, right? And just really hone in on that. And if you notice, how many drywallers do networking? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Join the chamber, find networking groups.
Yeah.
Really get involved in that. Next thing you know, they get a whole pipeline of realtors that are chasing them down to get these drywall issues repaired so they can sell a house. So these are the things of thinking outside the boxes, which really changed our numbers more than 50%. I mean, we had 50% growth just by networking.
Yeah, 90% of all of our business is referral, and whether it's from our networking groups, from the chamber, or from person who knew, from experience, worked with us. Somebody we've never done business with before, like a realtor, will refer us to everyone in their office because we have our fast response, the fact that we do pay at close, just our process. Like when a realtor calls in and needs something same day, we'll do it. We'll get it done for them same day because we've built it so that we can service that industry and make them a hero to their clients. And it's really made a difference for us. I mean, this time, last year at this time, this is the slowest time in our industry if we haven't had a hurricane, which we had one last year, but not this year. But, most roofing companies, everybody's slowing down. Everyone's talking about how slow it is. And we are actually not slow. And so people are talking like that are in the industry, and we're like,
yeah, guys at our reps at the supply yards come to me and say, Derrick, what are you guys doing? It's like, because they see all the, a lot of people have slowed down, but we've stayed consistent. I wouldn't say we're busy. We've stayed consistent.
Consistent,
so, to the point where people ask, what are we doing different? And And don't get me wrong, when I mention networking, every networking group has roofers here in Central Florida. There's no group that is missing a roofer, but the difference is involvement. So if they're just holding a seat just to show up, just to say, this is what we do, call us.
Right.
No, diving in, going to every single event that's available, every meetup after hours, just putting in 110% effort is what the difference is.
Yeah. And I like being around people. I like building relationships, and I like being in that being a connector and helping other people succeed at whatever they're working in. They're looking for that golden goose referral, like I listen to what they're saying, I write it down, and I'm like on the look for them, and I do that because I think I'm going to pay it forward, giver's gain. It's all about what BNI is about, and so I lean into that. I live and breathe it, I have this little emoji. When you text people, it's a meme, right? A meme. Yeah. So I always get it confused with a GIF. GIF is a video, but a meme is a photo. But I have the Kool-Aid, big red Kool-Aid guy, because people say that I'm, some of our networking groups are cult-like, or he used to tease and say, my sister, networks in a cult. And I would be like, well, yeah. So I leaned into that and got that little meme, and I send it to people. He's holding a picture of BNI Kool-Aid.
So I've been listening to you guys. We've been chatting here for not just on the podcast, but with the pre-show, well over an hour. And I'm trying to work out which one of you guys is sort of the visionary, and tell me if I'm wrong. I think you guys are both.
Yeah, we take turns.
When it comes to knowing what the difference is between a good roof and a bad roof and what's going to last and whatnot, I'll take full responsibility for that. And I do try to have meetings where I can explain, those things so they know what we do different. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the whole business side of it and the networking side of it and our presence, for sure, Carrie.
Branding
and
strategy,
branding, we've always hired the right people from branding since day one. We get compliments on our branding. I'm sure you guys do too. Branding's super important. And
Absolutely.
Then just us being the brand, she's clearly her brand. She's one of the things she didn't mention is with the Chamber of Commerce. She's on the board at Chamber. All these things just kept presenting themselves. Right. And she's, that's one more thing. But it's like, you have to do all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, in our town, she's basically a networking celebrity. And I'm being serious. It's true. Everybody knows her because that's what she does. That's literally what she does. She is made for networking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I do. But I really enjoy it. So it's another, just like coming up with the business card and leaning into something that makes me happy. I love relationships with people. I'm curious about people. I want to know their stories. I want to know I want to know all of these things. And so it's a genuine part of who I am that I couldn't imagine being any way different. And it does serve our business. Not everyone can do that. And everybody's built for that. Some people are like, oh God, walking into a room of people I don't know, that is miserable for me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So my recommendation would be hire somebody. Hire somebody to be that person in the room for you. Hire somebody that has that personality. Hire someone that lights up a room and then everybody wants to know them, because it does reflect so positively on your brand. That first impression is a big deal. And I'd be happy to meet someone who thrives on it like I do and hire them and pay them to go out and do it. I mean, I might not be the person, doing that for the rest of the longevity of our business, but I could spot the person that is good at that and recommend, and be like, okay, come on board and go do it like this,
Well, that's why we hired.
But not every, exactly.
I was going to mention that. I just didn't know if I should mention it.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Well, and you guys have talked a lot about it, but it is how business is done now.
It is.
It isn't knocking on doors so much. It isn't cold calling. It's getting to know people, building relationships.
So one other thing, when I talk about noise, the internet is noise too. So if we all just spend money on Google for these ads, nobody cares about the ads anymore. You have to do so much more.
Well, you're in a
they keep
saturated
changing
market.
it every time every time we figure something out that works for us, they shift it. And then we've got a company out there that uses our company name as their key search words.
Yeah.
So when you search
That's very
certified
common,
best
though.
roofing, like we did that on purpose, right? So when you search that, another company comes up ahead of ours, and we've got to do so much more work to actually represent the name that we are on Google. It's infuriating. And, as a business owner, and I'll sit down, I get, 30 emails a day about how I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I looked at your website and here's all the problems you have, or I tried to search you and here, trying to sell me on things. And
one of the things I did too that might work with Draw is getting very involved on the roofing community on YouTube. Not so much having a channel, but just going into the conversations. They see my logo, they see that I'm a roofer, And just a customer might be on someone else's thing and just say this, that, and the other. And I'll say, well, in Florida, this is how we have to do it because it's storm. Just blah, blah, blah. If you ever have any questions. So that led to me getting on to one of the biggest roofing podcasts and YouTube channels several times. He's had me on a couple times just to be a guest.
Yeah.
That got us jobs.
Excellent.
Yeah. So people in Florida that search that thing on YouTube, a video of me comes up, they're watching the video, they're calling my contact at the end.
love
So
that.
you literally have to do every little thing.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to make you
it's so true.
more or less go viral.
Yeah,
or
like
just,
who knew we needed to be content creators, podcast creators. You know, we have to be on our socials. We got to have LinkedIn.
That's another seat we have filled right now. We have someone that just does our socials.
Yeah.
Part-time, nonetheless, but that's the full
Yeah.
focus is what's going to be posted, what's going to be the topic, and how often does it go out.
Yeah. So we hired someone. She's very young. She's young enough to know that I was talking to her a couple weeks ago and I said, well, I'm no Barbara Walters. We were talking about one of my podcast episodes and she really liked it and she was giving me compliments. And I'm like, yeah, I'm no Barbara Walters. And she goes, who's Barbara Walters?
Oh,
That's how young she
And I
is.
was like,
you got to
you
be
should
kidding, right?
look her up and read about her.
That's funny.
Okay. She was one of the first women to sit at an anchor desk on
That is
primetime
crazy.
TV. And she's primetime TV. What do you think?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
that?
None of it made sense to her.
I love actually hearing about what you guys have evolved, how you sell, how you
Yeah.
market, because they're the same things that we have concluded.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tell James all the time, we must be the single most sophisticated drywall company in the States.
Right.
Right.
We must be.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have on an independent path come the same journey that you guys have. I just hear it in your journey. We do the same things.
Right.
Yeah, and because you're in a very saturated market. I mean, how many? Have you actually Googled that one day? How many?
it's a lot.
roofing
Oh,
companies are?
7,000. I
Yeah.
think it's over
Yeah.
7,000
My
roofers in the state
goodness.
of Florida.
There's just so many roofers, so you have to do extra stuff to stand out and to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And so your little difference is quick. A lot of guys don't do repairs. You guys do repairs? Or
We
you
do
guys,
repairs
do
on
repairs.
commercial and residential repairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of roofing companies don't do repairs. They just
Well,
don't
it's
do new
because-
installs.
And when we say repairs, it's not just a tree fell in your house, repair that. No, like even if it just needs one shingle replaced, one got blown off, a hip, a whole hip section got blown off or whatever it
around
is,
event,
a simple leak, we do all repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So good 5 years, good first 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Interesting journey. What's the next
Interesting.
5 look like? Come on, you visionaries. Tell me
Yeah.
what's
So
going to
the
happen.
next-
I mean,
go- you go
I
first.
did the other day. I said to him, I'm like, I have a crazy idea. And he's, what is it? And I told him, and he was like, oh God, well, we got to do these other things first. But it was crazy. I
But
can
it
say it. I
is.
was like, because we are, you were saying our journey sounds really similar. After talking to you and just thinking, percolating is what I call it when I like sit down.
You know
and
what she's going to say.
I percolate. I'm
Just say
like,
the F
I
word.
think we're different, and I think that we could be a franchise.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he goes, yeah, but we gotta, this one's got to be XYZ before that, and because we still have a lot of bugs to fix. We
You
still
know,
have
some
things to
franchises
streamline.
build with the intent of being a franchise.
Yeah,
right.
We did.
We
We did
didn't.
not.
We intended to be the mom and pop roofing. That's
But-
basically what I like. That hometown
Yes.
mom and pop feeling. I know we can do it, and then grow the circle of service bigger.
Yeah.
So that would be a different circle.
But one of the things that most of the roofing companies, as they get big or they've been around for X amount of years, their whole thing is getting to a certain size, having all their numbers in the right way, having these specifics in place, and then we're going to sell to an
Yeah, the
equity
biggest
firm.
thing in roofing
Selling
is to
off,
sell
selling
to an
off.
equity firm,
And that's what
the biggest thing.
It's at least in my experience, everyone we've met so far that's successful, that's their out. That's their goal. And I'm like, why do we have to leave?
Yeah, I think one of the
Like-
biggest acquisitions, Angie's List bought a roofing company that was based out of Central
Oh, is that
Florida.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And what's funny is his business model was all Angie's List. So he grew a company just being the best at Angie's List. He grew a massive roofing company to the point where they bought it and then they couldn't even keep it open. And then he bought it back from them for a lesser price. So he made so much money off of them. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, it just seems like that whole strategy is bottom line numbers, make the dollars, right? And I think it loses the homeowner's perspective or the business owner, whoever the property owner is, it loses like that mom and pop feel
Right.
that makes the experience of going with Certified Best Roofing one that you want to share with your friends and family and other people to where our business is 90% referral.
Yeah.
So, why not keep that difference in the market, be that be that and not, make it all about the bottom line and building to a certain number and then getting out, like keeping the difference, the certified best way. Like we have a way of doing things that's not like other people. And so not that, we're so freaking special, because maybe there is somebody else out there doing it the same way, but putting everything in place, like walking through your facility here and just seeing how, that's the whole thing behind it, is like creating something wonderful that can also, someone else can have that piece of wonderful and make the wonderful where they are, and like change the landscape where they are for their families, for their, for their community. And we've been that way from the very beginning. We like to give back. We like to, like we said, when we first opened, Derrick was like, once we hit X amount in sales, or if we get this job over here, he said, I want to donate a roof. I want to give something back to the community. And so we had closed our first huge, it was like a $900,000 roofing project. Our first huge, it was like, wow,
actually, it did break. I'm not trying to put wind in my own sail. 1.1 million.
When we were signing, though, it was less, but ended up paying out more from insurance, right? Yeah, the back end. So anyway, we're about to sign that contract, and we were like, okay, we're gonna give away a roof, and we didn't want to publicize it. We didn't know who it was going to go to. We didn't know how it was going to work out. And we were at a Martin Luther King Day event in our community in Oviedo. And we approached this lady who was talking about making a museum. And the name of the museum is the Historic Colored School Museum, which is a weird name, but that's the actual name of it. There's several here in Orlando. But in order for her to get her first grant, she was trying to fundraise for a roof. So he walked up to her, started talking to her, having a conversation, and he had his polo with his logo on it. And I saw him from a distance cross his arms and nod in his head. I'm like, oh, he's up to something. He's thinking those are his mannerisms for like his superpower stance. He's about to do something cool. And he said, I think he nods his head in a backwards motion. I think we can help you. And she just was like, okay, whatever. They exchange information, and he walked away. He's like, we're going to put a roof on that thing. And I was like, all right. So we started like doing our research behind the scenes, and then had her come to the office, and we're like, we're going to put this roof on this place for free. And she could not believe us. She's no, you're not. We're like, yep, we are. And so her name is Judith Smith. She'll stop by the office till this day. She keeps a sign in the front of it. She invited us to be a part of the groundbreaking ceremony and all that stuff. Had the whole community out.
Yeah. Drug us to the front.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to, we wanted to be like, yeah, we did this, but we don't need all this publicity. And we're in the back, and she saw his head sticking up above everybody else's, and she's, Derrick, you get up here.
It was in the middle of the whole thing.
She was giving a speech. And
like the record even skipped. I was like, oh no.
Everybody got quiet. Like,
everybody's looking at me. I'm like,
she drug him up front and went on and on about how it all came about and what he had done for her and how he had changed, her whole experience with this process and how stressful it was, and how he just swooped in out of nowhere. And and we didn't do it for that, but it was so rewarding to be in a position to do that.
Yeah.
That we said, every time we get a contract that's X amount of dollars, we're going to donate something to the community.
Yeah.
And since that time, we haven't hit one of those big contracts again. Right. We've had lots of business, of course, but nothing that allowed us to step out and donate. But that's one of the things that is in our heart and soul. Like, we will do that. Like, when we get the next big contract that comes, a piece of it will go to our community.
Absolutely.
Not just somewhere abroad or whatever, but it'll go to giving back to the place that's given so much to us. We really care about it. But it's funny, she'll stop by the office to pick up a new sign every few months because she wants to keep a yard sign in front of the museum. And she's, Carrie, I like you, but I like Derrick better. She actually said that to me last time. I was like, Judith. It's true, Carrie. I'm sorry. I know you're a lovely person, but I really was hoping Derrick was going to be here. I wanted to see him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let him know you stopped by.
Biggest fan.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Well, I will tell you, because you do want to be that mom and pop shop. Absolutely. But you can do that with franchising.
Yes. That's
our
what I saw.
locations are their experts in their community. They're the mom and pop shops. They just have the support of our systems.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do. And Bill and I'd be happy to introduce you to people and talk about it.
Yeah.
Wait. You really glossed over. It's very easy to do.
Listen, I know that it's a lot.
It's not easy.
But like when I mentioned it
for
to
the
him,
right person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When I mentioned it to him, he was like, And I'm like, yeah, but we love, his passion for educating people. We're walking through your facility. I'm like, oh, Derrick would still be able to keep a saw in his hand and train people and show them the ways of how to, because he can He can look at a roof and he can look at photos of a roof. And this is what makes us so skilled for real estate professionals, is that they're in a bind. They need to get an answer on a leak or whatever's going on that property. You know, it's coming down to the inspection phase, and it could all blow up. And Derrick can look at the photos that have been taken by a home inspector.
Yeah, home inspectors, I love them.
He can look at those photos and he can tell exactly where the problem is. He can diagnose it, and he can also estimate the repair and send it back to them in a matter of hours.
Excellent.
And not anybody can do that. So I don't know if he can teach people to do that if we did, expand, but it is an amazing skill that he has that I don't think I don't get a chance to brag on him enough for that, because I know that's not something that anyone else could do. I don't know. And especially on a repair, and the fact that we have to, put a warranty on that. And if it leaks again, we're back out there, like we can do those things because he is so skilled and so smart.
Roofing is one of those things where if you can learn, you will, because once you go to a house twice, you'll realize where you messed up the first time, So if you really take it apart, you can say, oh, well, this is the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, water's only going to go one direction. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
And it doesn't run uphill.
It's going to be one of 10 things, right? It's going to be one of 10 things. So all I'm doing is picking one of the 10, and 9 times out of 10,
it's so
right.
easy. I know. He's like, no big
But
deal.
I'm just saying, can it be taught?
It's just the structural integrity of
and
the
that's the
person's
thing about
first
journey-
defense on their home,
with
no
construction
problem.
trades use journeymen for a reason, because you have to see a lot of scenarios to be brought up, so you guys can show many scenarios in your beautiful facility here, but there's going to be things that come up. But once you learned how to do it on this, if you can translate it to that with confidence, it's going to work.
Yeah.
So you just got to learn the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So obviously the dynamic between brother and sister working together is it works for you guys.
It works for us
Yeah.
because at any given moment, we can shut our doors and have a total personal conversation as well, to be like, hey, this is what's going on at home, and I don't know what to do with this, and we can have that for each other, and then literally open the door and say, okay, now are we going to spend money on this advertiser or this advertiser?
Right.
So that's the beauty of it, really.
Have you guys had any struggles between that dynamic?
The only struggles that we've had have been normal business related struggles. I don't think there's been a dynamic.
Yeah,
or
like
power
something like, hey,
struggle.
this email came over and it would have been really helpful if it would have been said like this, or if this would have been done a better way. I know you didn't mean this, but let me just say,
moment where
let me.
This kind of sounded like that. Maybe I should turn it down a little bit.
I don't think. I know you didn't mean this,
Yeah.
but if you could help me out in this area, I'm like, okay.
But the funny thing was, Carrie, something. No, I meant it like that. I'm tired of them doing this to us.
Well, there has to be one person on the team
The
that
knives
holds
come
the
out.
line.
That's
That
right,
has
yeah.
to be the
Gotta stand your
the buck
ground.
stops here, and no, we're not doing this. I mean,
Right.
we both can be extremely nice and kind, but like when he watches someone take advantage of me, forget it.
Oh. Yeah.
Forget it, or the opposite. So he's very nice and kind and open to people, and I'm like, they cannot act like that. They cannot treat you that way. Like, they can't act like this. But we had one guy that he just stepped over a bunch of lines, like in the way that he talked to me. And Derrick was like, he's out here. He's going home today. That's enough is enough,
Well,
so it's good to have support like that. But I
Yeah.
mean, as far as like us coming after each other or being upset or like needing
I don't
to have
pick
a
up that
heart-to-heart
vibe from
or
you guys at
anything.
all. I
Yeah,
get
no.
nothing but just power team, coordination, supporting
Yeah.
one another.
have to
No
leave
wonder
your-
you're succeeding.
Yeah. Well,
have to leave your
I
ego
couldn't
at
do
home in
this with any.
business.
Yeah.
There's really no room for ego in business at all. I don't think any person with a huge ego is going to succeed in any aspect of business. So
Yeah.
I think when it comes to our personal relationship and business relationship, neither one of us have an ego about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't.
Well, thank you all for coming. Any final words? Anything you'd like to share before we kind of sign off?
Yeah.
I think we could go another hour, James. We're going to have to
Probably.
You obviously have to come back.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that,
Oh,
what
for
I was
sure.
saying in the pre-show is, the hard bits of being an entrepreneur, everybody's going through it. So lean in and talk to the people, ask for help. Don't be embarrassed or have shame associated. Because there was one thing I read a couple weeks ago that said, nothing brings out more shame and embarrassment than being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And it just reveals all your big
exposed.
insecurities
Yep.
and all of that. And just having, being able to just be transparent about those moments and asking for help and
Yeah.
seeking people out that have done it. But, I've never owned a construction business before that acted like a small bank. I've never done that. And so, I need to talk. And I asked somebody one time, I'm like, hey, so-and-so's been in business for this amount of years. They've been in construction. What's the secret sauce? What is it? And I was like, there's got to be something I don't know. There's got to be an answer to this problem. There's a secret.
Right.
There's a secret that I haven't found out. And I got to that person and they're like, there's no secret.
Right.
There isn't any.
And the beauty of it too is even people that are taking the time to listen to this, thank you for listening to the end, but they're obviously the type of person that are constantly learning things. And I
Yes.
think that's the secret too. If you think you know everything, you're not going to learn anything.
Right.
And I will be the first to tell you, I'm still learning stuff about construction, roofing, business ownership, leadership, especially,
Yeah.
It really is a constant process, isn't it? You
It is.
never sort of land on the final step. You
Yeah.
just are always evolving.
I'll say it, but if anybody listening wants to email me, it's Derrick, DERRICK at certifiedbestroofing.com, or you can call my personal cell, 407-813-1316. And then, of course, we're certifiedbestroofing.com.
That's right.
Wow. Thank you all so much for taking the time to come.
Thanks for having
Absolutely.
us.
You guys
Absolutely.
are a great
Thank you.
interview, by the way.
Thank you.
Have us back. We'd love to
No,
talk
we-
about.
You got it.
We're the
Yeah,
talkingest things you ever saw.
I'm
That's what I was
extending the
saying.
invitation right now, officially.
I'd love to come back.
Awesome. Well, Happy New Year, and thank you for being here. And thank
Thanks
you,
for
everyone,
having
for
us.
listening.
We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.